Hello, all. My name is Nicole, and I'm with Crimes, Lies, and Alibis. I am brand new to doing this and have decided to jump feet first into my own streaming platform. This is the death of Madeline Soto, affectionately known as Maddie. I am starting with part one that includes the interviews with her mother, Jennifer Soto, also known as Jen, and we will be introducing another person who is Stephen Stearns. He is the man who is currently being tried for Maddie's murder. And actually, he has two trials. One is tentatively slated unless something happens. It's supposed to start May 5th, 2025. And that is for the copious amounts of CSAM they found on his devices, which is child sexual abuse materials, CSAM. And then there is a trial for September 22nd, 2025 for her murder. The judge did agree with his counsel that in order for him to get a fair trial that would not lead in a mistrial, it was best to separate both charges because they didn't want him to decide that he's guilty of murder based on him being guilty of the CSAM. So he gets two different trials. Whether we like it or not, it is what it is. This content is for educational purposes only. It's for spreading awareness and intended for adults only because this does get into some really delicate information. I should have, I guess, led with that disclaimer, but here we are. Thank you, Geisla K from Grizzly True Crime. She put these together for us to use and cut out all the fluff. So I'm very thankful to her. If you somehow found me and you haven't seen her stuff, again, it's Grizzly True Crime. She's amazing. That's her little logo that I think you see in the corner. I don't know if it's available or not, but it's there. And also a shout out to Strategic Eye. He is awesome and he's been very informative when it comes to this whole Madeline Soto case as well. So I am going to try to stick as close to the facts as I can. I will give my opinion and my thoughts on things. So I just can't help myself. It's part of who I am, and I will try to do the best that I can to keep it fact-based, but I don't like dealing with rumors and he said, she said type stuff. So you're learning with me, and here we go. Oh, I guess a recap. This is the 27th, but actually this was February 26th, 2024 that this all took place. I'm not sure why the timestamp says that, but I'm trying to not get ahead because a lot of stuff will be explained and I don't have to double explain it. But this was on September 26th. She did not go to school, so she was last seen by her mother on the 25th after her birthday party.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Do they speak English?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hi there.
Hey there.
Hey there. What's going on?
So, was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it. I went to pick her up from school.
I'm sorry, one second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Are we looking for another kid or we have a kid?
Looking for another one.
Good,
Alright,
police
so
officer
people are
just
still
showed
on
up,
the
so
scene.
I was
Let's
gonna
put that
start
out.
taking some
In the
information.
possible location. How old?
13.
I'm trying to get there right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Alright,
So she was supposed to be dropped off at school, didn't make it to school.
Didn't make it to school. I went to pick her up from school today,
Okay.
and she never came out. They announced it over the speaker, and I'm just like, maybe she walked here because sometimes she'll walk here to this office. I came here, nothing. I went back to the school, they were closed. I got a notice, an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher, and he
Helps if I'm unmuted. So I'm stopping this right here. I know I'm only a couple minutes in, and unfortunately I'm going to be doing a lot of this so we don't miss things. But she confuses me. I have children in school. I know people who have children in school. And this is strange that she gets her information from email, because when my children aren't in school for whatever reason, I mean, I homeschool my son right now, but if my children weren't in school and I forgot to call in, like maybe we had a really bad morning and I forgot to call, or we overslept because everyone was sick. Didn't happen terribly often, but it happened. I had two methods. I would get a phone call and I would get a text message. Hey, your child wasn't in school today. Please call the office. And that's how I was notified. It seems weird to only get notification via email, because unless you're someone who checks your email all the time and are diligent about that, I struggle because my email is full of spam and stuff. I get emails for things I never signed up for, so it's weird. I'm just surprised that it took her looking at the email to get a notification that Maddie wasn't in school. Because had she seen that notification sooner, she should have known that Maddie wasn't in school that day. Also, our kids had Power School. I don't know how many different ones there are, but we use Power School. And the thing that was great about Power School is not only could you see like your balance, if there were any school fees that need paid, or they needed money added to their food account for lunches. If there were any events coming up that parents needed to know what was happening, you could sign up for parent-teacher conferences if that was important to you. Like, everything could be done through this app, which shows grades. It also shows attendance. So I'm kind of surprised that she went through all of these extra steps to find out that her daughter wasn't in school all day, when she could have just gone to this really handy app. And I know that she has it because she mentions it. She mentions that you can talk to teachers through it. So I just think it was really strange that she didn't just go to the attendance thing to see that her daughter wasn't in school. I'm trying to give Jen the benefit of the doubt, but let me know what you think about that.
I looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
Okay. What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
Madeline. Last name?
Soto. Soto.
Soto.
Yeah.
Date of birth?
February 22nd, 2011.
February 27th, 2000.
22nd.
Oh, sorry. 22nd,
2011.
2011.
Just had her 13th birthday.
13.
1418 Charlie 405. What's the name of the single aid?
Madeline.
So another thing that Stefan does that I find really irritating is he loves parroting what she says. So she will say something and he either repeats what she says or he embellishes it in some way. Like, she said, her name, he says her name. It's just, it's weird that he does that. Like, just let her talk. She's the mom. I don't understand why you feel the need to interject. Like, she says her birthday, he says she just turned 13. She just got done telling him how old her daughter is. She doesn't need your help, Stefan. Shut up.
Soto, age 13. I'm trying to get a clothing description now. What was she last seen wearing?
26 County Charlie 405. People hit my call 931 at the same call.
Green hoodie,
Green hoodie,
white Crocs,
white Crocs,
either blue or black pants.
I think black shorts.
Black shorts.
Yeah.
black shorts. Okay.
That's important. He says she was wearing a green hoodie, white Crocs, and light blue pants. She corrects him and says she was wearing black shorts. Here's why Jen said that. Maddie was the type of child who would take a shower at night and lay her clothes out for the next morning so she knew what she was going to wear. My girls did the same thing. I didn't, because I went to a Catholic all-girls school, so I had a uniform. I would just pull my uniform out of my closet, get dressed, and go to school. Whereas Maddie would lay everything out the night before, so she knew exactly what she was wearing. That's why Jen said black shorts. And this is important because Maddie is found in a green hoodie with light blue pants or jeans. So she wasn't wearing the shorts, she was wearing the jeans. So what Jen expected Maddie to be wearing, she wasn't. But Stefan knew what she was wearing. So, again, that's important.
Black shorts. Alright. Do you know if she has like friends in the area?
She does, but she doesn't know where they live.
She doesn't know where they live. Okay.
I asked all of them.
Okay. Is this like, does she like have any places that you guys know that she'll usually be at? Any friend's house? Any places that like she likes to hang out?
Not typically, no.
No.
Not typically?
No.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if it fits in.
Thank you.
No problem. And what school she goes to? 125. Do you have a picture of her? Can you airdrop it to me?
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
Anything recently, probably from a birthday party, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I had to look at what's up.
Go ahead. That's what I'm about to grab right now. Yeah. Alright, cool, thank you.
Is this a good enough picture, or do you need a whole
Yeah,
body
that's
picture?
perfect.
How do I airdrop? I don't know how to do it.
I got you. Okay, where's the photo? Right there.
It's on WhatsApp.
That's fine. This is it?
I saved it to my photos, so you could go.
You saved it to your photos?
Yeah, we can just
Perfect.
go straight to the photos.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second. I'm gonna send it out right now to my other guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Never showed up. So they called since I don't even know when, but whenever they, what did you say that, what she called? My question is not, why is it not a code 3 when it first came out?
Okay, so according to reports, Jen did call 911 around 4:40, I believe, ish, declaring that her daughter was not at school all day. The reason it's dark, I mean, yeah, it's February, so it still gets dark kind of early, but there were other missing juveniles in the area that day. So police were kind of congregated in an area looking for these kids, and Stephanie, who is Jen's sister, went and found law enforcement to pull them in this direction. So it's not like she waited until nighttime to report her missing. She did do it earlier, but by the time they were notified that they were there needing to talk to police officers, it was dark, which kind of sucks because in the eyes of law enforcement, I'm sure they're frustrated because during the day, if something happened on the way to school and she got hurt and she's laying in the grass somewhere or something, it's dark, so she's not going to be as visible as if they knew that she was missing during the day. They could be looking for her and it would be easier to find her. But that's why it's dark.
Yeah, so that last time she was seen, it was early this morning, like 7 o'clock. That's what I'm about to see. I'm about to go check. I just try to get as much information now of her clothing descriptions than the Diaz, who Diaz has a hit in like a big area full of kids. So if you want to help me out with this one, give me my signal expert. By any chance, does she have a phone number or phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I've already gone through her messages.
Okay. How about, does she have like an Apple Watch? No.
She's got a device. The only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
Her school laptop? Is that trackable?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
It should be. If the Wi-Fi is turned on, it'll try to connect to any Wi-Fi. So by like Circle Q. Connects to any USB.
Well, does she know all the history of running away or anything?
Never.
She's just hanging out and lost time kind of thing?
Possibly, I don't know. She got dropped off. She was like, so she's embarrassed by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away so she can walk.
It's an image thing. She's in the face.
Is she embarrassed by his car or embarrassed by him? I'm just saying.
Okay. Did she ever go to school though?
No, we called
She
school.
was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she caught her walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as any other morning.
Okay.
What was the last thing you asked?
If she went to school, I mean, that's what it was.
So I got confirmation from the school that she never made it. They sent me an email saying she didn't make it. But I also spoke to her or emailed one of her teachers directly, and he looked at all her attendance for all her periods and told me she didn't make it at all today.
Okay.
So, random side note, Maddie had a lot of interesting characters in her life. And I use the phrase interesting characters loosely. But the teacher that Jen keeps talking about that she talked to was recently arrested for inappropriate behavior and just being gross to minor boys. So he has also been arrested for gross behavior. Just thought that was kind of an ironic thing to throw in there. Not really ironic, just super disgusting. So my little comment about she was supposedly embarrassed by his car, I don't really believe that. I mean, maybe she was, but Stefan wasn't driving his car that day. He actually had his dad's car for some reason. I will get into more of these details later because there's just so much. There is just, this whole thing is crazy. But they talk like this is a normal thing. Like, he said she was walking to school like normal, but he never took her to school. There's tons of information that comes out. Most of the time, Jen took her to school. And the days that Jen didn't take her, she had her grandmother take her. So this was the only time, it sounds like, Stefan ever took Maddie to school. And the one day he takes her to school, she doesn't go.
Say it again? No, she's supposed to have a book bag. She was supposed to go to school, but didn't go to school today.
Good.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Battery FGOA 212319 Turtleback Loop. Third party for Saturday.
Okay.
Complaint.
All right.
Children
Cool.
by two juvenile males. Request
Say it
1045
again?
only. It's code 21945.
I'm trying to figure out secondary spots, but so far negative on anything. Yeah, you could be 51 to me. Alright, cool. 34 too. Alright, cool.
Yes, Sector 4 units. Prepare to copy a local from OPD at Florence.
Yeah, it said negative on that hit at the park.
Way,
So.
reference a 21 to a vehicle. Pursuing local,
Green hoodie.
reference a 21 to a vehicle.
I think
Going
black
to be
shorts.
an unknown male, gray hoodie,
It's also
black
black
pants,
shorts
black
and
ski mask,
white
black
Crocs with
gloves.
socks.
No further information. 1064, 1946.
And when was the last time you seen her? Do you know around what time?
Around 8:30, 8:40 when we dropped her off.
How tall is she?
5'1",
Yeah.
Weight?
110 pounds.
About 110, 112.
Hair color?
Blonde.
Stefan, he's so stupid. She says 110 pounds. He has to correct her. 110, 112. Because those 2 pounds are super critical, Stefan. We really needed you to interject with those 2 whole pounds that you felt was just so vital to investigation purposes, that she might be 110, but she could be 112. He's such an idiot.
Blonde, like a dirty blonde.
Like a dirty blonde? Okay. Eye color?
Blue.
Does she have any markings on her, like any scars or anything
There's
like that?
a distinctive beauty mark on her face
On
here.
her face?
On the face, like below the nose or near the nose?
Yeah, like right in that area there. It's very distinctive. You'd know it if you saw it. Big.
Any other scars or anything like that? We should know.
Scars?
No.
Tattoos?
Tattoos? No.
You'd be surprised. Did you put out the description?
I put the top part out. I didn't get the rest of that stuff yet, so I didn't put it out.
Counting 34s here.
So Jen's tells are very strange, because I know that it's pretty well known out there that Jen is on several medications for depression, for anxiety, for just a bunch of them. So some people take her extreme lack of emotions. It's a hard thing, because while, slight disclaimer here, I am not a licensed professional. I cannot in any way diagnose Jen. I can't say for sure what I, professionally think is wrong with her. It's unethical anyway to diagnose someone you've never met, you've never encountered. But knowing what I know about human behavior and knowing what I know about people, you can't expect this 2 people to have the same exact responses to stress. One person might completely shut down because they are, they're processing information faster than their emotions can catch up, and they're a very emotional creature that can't help but what is going on the inside is reflected on the outside. For some people, they compartmentalize and they shove things in, and they can't process information, and how they experience shock may be to internally shut down. So there's different ways, and I recognize this when I see Jen talking, and when I hear the things that she says. She seems very closed off with a lot of lack of emotion, and I recognize that. And it could be because, people who have her kind of medications often say that sometimes it can make them feel, quote, dead inside or zombified, which could be true for her. But what's interesting is sometimes she seems like she's not processing information well. But then other times she does stuff that does show emotion, does show that she's upset. So could it be the medications, or could it be just Jen? She doesn't have, most people can say, not all, but most people can say, if my child were missing, I wouldn't be standing there seemingly fine. I would be freaking out. I would be a basket case. I'd be sobbing. I would do all of these things. Well, okay, but another person could say, well, maybe she's being positive. She's thinking, my child is just missing. She's somewhere stupid. She just didn't think to call us, or she did a teenage thing and she went off and did something she shouldn't have done, and she'll come home tonight and all will be fine. We don't know what's going on in her head, really. These could be the things that are going on in her head, or she knows something's hinky and this is her way of trying to cover up whatever misdeeds have been done. We don't know, but I'm trying really hard to give Jen the benefit of the doubt here, because I have all these opinions about her as a parent from what I've seen. I'm really trying. I'm really struggling. But Stefan, I have nothing good to say about the guy. He drives me crazy. Every little stupid thing he does, it's frustrating. So he's going to do it again. She's going to make a characteristic of Maddie, and he's going to correct her, add to it, correct her, do whatever he does, because he has to give his input on everything Maddie, like, he's just, it's kind of weird ownership type of thing.
Updated 14, 28, white female.
Can I just see that phone?
Black shorts, white plastic socks, approximately 5'19", blonde, dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, has a beauty mark under the nose. Nobody else.
I'm getting a random 407 number. Okay. Hello? Yes? Hi, Principal. I'm okay. How are you?
That's my cousin.
No, currently police officers here right now.
Start getting the
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find her
paperwork.
anything.
Does she have any social media or anything like that?
She has an Instagram.
Right here.
OBT test on
Yeah, phone.
Tried it.
It is private, yes.
Just family,
Thank you
cousins,
so much. I
friends.
definitely appreciate it.
Right here.
That's her profile?
Yeah.
She also has a YouTube page.
Okay. Any Snapchat or
She plays games.
No, that's the daughter's
She
phone.
plays games, she plays like Minecraft.
Okay, I'm pausing this because it is going to transition. They are done with giving the police the preliminary information. It's going to skip to the next part. And I don't know if I can fast forward through any of it or not, because some of it's just fluff. Do I have the subtitles on? Okay. It's going to be the conversation that she has with the it ends up going to a different division. This is going to be the next day, so it will actually be February 27th. Again, I don't know why the timestamp is telling me what it is. I don't think you can see it though. But it gets into okay, my brain is going 1,000 miles a minute. In the next part, they haven't been in the house. They're pulled out of the house because the police want to search it. This is a whole day later. Things aren't making sense. Things aren't jiving. They're getting one story and then they're getting another story. Things don't make sense. So they've decided that they're going to go in the house and search for clues. Stefan, all the people living in the house, Jen, they have to get out. And so this next part is going to be Jen talking with those people.
In the guest bedroom number 4. It's got.
If you want to start the car and just give me 1 second.
Yeah. Let me make this. I know it's not the most comfortable. But at least he won't be cold over there.
I can mute this for a second because they're just kind of not really doing anything while they wait for the other officer. She, I don't know if this is before or after she sits in the car with Stefan when they're told that they have to get a hotel room. But she also sits in the vehicle, and she being Jen, sits in the vehicle with Stefan for several hours while they're going through the house before they're told that they're not allowed back in. And a lot of us are really wondering what that conversation was about.
Start it up.
Do you have your keys on you?
Here, have a little closer just in case.
Sorry, this isn't my car. There we go. Okay, so I'm not sure if he introduced himself, but his name is Luis Acosta. Okay? We both work for Orange County Sheriff's Office. So I understand you spoke with the other guy earlier, with Detective Frank Hunt. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We have officially taken over the case, okay? So...
Are you guys with Kissimmee?
No, we're with Orange County. It's just a different unit.
Oh, okay. What unit are you with?
We're with sex crimes.
Okay.
It's just because of her age and is why we take over. Does that make... I know it's kind of confusing, but like we have like different rules.
Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily because of their age at this point. It could be. But also, it's her age and the manner of her disappearance. She did not have a history of running off. She did not have a history of being where she wasn't supposed to be. She doesn't have a history of poor behavior and issues at school. So there are all of these things that are pointing towards this not being good. She didn't have her phone on her. She didn't have anything questionable in her phone to suggest that maybe something nefarious happened or that she would have run off with someone. They have literally nothing. It's almost like Maddie just dropped off the face of the earth at this point. So when she says that she's with sex crimes and Jen's like, okay, she doesn't, again, have the response that I think I would have. I would be asking 1,001 questions, like, why sex crimes? Do you think something happened to her? Do you think that she's been like taken by someone who is going to do something to her, like traffic her? Those would be the questions that I would have. And I don't know. Here we go.
In Orange County, and depending on like people's age, we sometimes take over investigation when it comes to missing persons.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, when you talked to him earlier, I kind of got like a brief synopsis of what happened. I understand you have a new job.
Yes.
Okay? And if I say anything that's incorrect, please correct me, okay? You have a new job, and last night you asked them to go sleep upstairs because you wanted to get rest. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What time was this? Do you remember?
Pausing again. You sent them upstairs because you needed to get rest. Remember when I had said that Stefan is not Jen's boyfriend? There's a reason I say this. And the reason I say this is because people love to call him Jen's boyfriend. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And a big reason I don't like it is because they haven't been together. They broke up. They broke up many months before he moved out. And then he hadn't been there other than maybe a visit or two in the area for at least 2 months, maybe even 3. They were not together anymore. He was not her boyfriend. He was her ex-boyfriend. So the way this just sounded to an officer with sex crimes, a detective, I sent them upstairs so that I could rest. Instead of, I sent her upstairs so that I could rest. Wait till you hear the layout of this house.
It doesn't have to be like exact time, but like just. Oh, and then yesterday she had her, or Sunday she had her birthday party, right?
Sunday she had her birthday party.
Okay, what time was that party at?
It started at 3 o'clock.
Okay, from 3 to what time?
I'm not sure. I wasn't there. I was at work.
Oh, okay, you weren't there.
But I know my sister home around 8:30.
Was Stefan here at that time?
I'm not sure if he was here at the time, but I think he got here a little bit after. And he was like, okay, she was already doing what she was supposed to. She had taken her nighttime meds, and she was getting ready for bed, like taking a shower. She takes showers at night. So he's like, okay, she was already on it. I didn't get home until, I'm going to say 10:30.
Okay.
And then at 11, I sent him to bed.
Did Stefan make it to the party?
No.
Okay. And then once you get here, you said you sent her to bed at 11. And the following morning, well, I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. You send them upstairs, right? How many bedrooms are upstairs?
3.
Okay. Where?
In bedroom number 4.
Okay. And what about Stefan?
Bedroom number 4.
Okay. Is it normal for both of them to sleep in the same room?
That confusion is what any normal person would have. This woman's with sex crimes. You know she hears a lot of crap. So for her to be like, oh, you send them upstairs to sleep in bed, is that something that's normal? This doesn't sound normal to her because it shouldn't. This should not sound normal to literally anyone. And Jen says it so matter-of-factly. Like, I needed good night's sleep, so I sent them upstairs. Well, which bedroom? Bedroom number 4. Well, where did he go? Bedroom number 4. Is it normal for them to sleep in the same bed together?
Sometimes. When I really need a good night's sleep, I will send them upstairs. But when... also, a lot of times, we will sleep together in the king-size bed, all 3 of us. Or sometimes Stefan will go upstairs and our bed alone. So it just really depends on what's going on that night with our schedules and what we're doing.
Okay, where were you sleeping?
Downstairs in the king-size bed.
Okay. Is it just you 2 here? Well, you guys have a roommate, right?
We have 2 roommates, and one of the roommates has a son who's here like a little bit more than half the week.
So what rooms do you guys use?
The room downstairs, the master bedroom downstairs, and room number 4.
A little bit of background information on this house. The house is actually owned by Jen's dad. He was going to sell it, and then he changed his mind because he's exploring the country living in an RV, which is actually pretty cool. So instead of selling the house, he decided he was going to keep the house, rent out rooms, and kind of also help Jen out a little. So he rented out rooms number 2 and 3 are taken by Angelica. I'm not sure if she's just someone they happen to know who needed a room. It was predominantly women though. So Angelica is in one room and Natalie is in the other room. And Natalie is the one who has a son. And her bedroom also has an en-suite bathroom. So bedrooms number 2 and 4 have, bedrooms 3 and 4 have an exterior bathroom that they share, and room numbers 1 and 2 have their own bathrooms. So upstairs is Angelica, Natalie, and then room number 4. Natalie states in her interview that when she moved in, there was another older woman living there, and she says older, and I get kind of like, I pucker a little because the woman's in her 30s and she calls her older. Anyway, like maybe late 30s. But there was already a woman living in room number 4. She was not living there long after Natalie moved in. So then room number 4 was empty for a little while and not rented out until Jen and Stefan broke up, and then Stefan ended up taking room number 4. Now, the thing that really stinks about all of that is, and Jen will explain it here in a few minutes, they partitioned off part of the living room for Maddie to have her own space. So she does have a bed down there. She has a desk that she can do her homework at, little bins and stuff for toys and different things that she has, and I think an armoire or something for her clothing. So she does have her own space, but nothing with a door. It's not a formal room. So at one point, Jen said that Maddie doesn't like sleeping alone, and that's why she slept with Jen. And another part, she says that she didn't want the roommates waking her up if they got up or if they came home early or whatever and she was asleep. So she's not really consistent on why Maddie didn't sleep downstairs in the living room area. But she says sometimes she would sleep in the bed with me, or sometimes we'd sleep all together. Well, she's trying to minimize what she just told this officer, because she realizes how bad it sounds. I sent my young teenage daughter, and Stefan at this point is 37 years old. So I sent my brand new 13-year-old daughter to sleep with a 37-year-old man, and then what makes it even more disgusting than that is, maybe the other one was in her 40s. Anyway, what makes it even worse is they weren't together. They were broken up. And at that point, Maddie would have been 12 years old. I can't imagine saying, oh yeah, I'm going to send my non-boyfriend. We're broken up. I'm going to send him upstairs to sleep with my 12-year-old. That's gross. And she knows it. She knows it's inappropriate. She knows it's not right, but she allowed it to happen anyway, whether it was her doing or his doing or however that got initiated. She's the one who felt confident to say, yeah, you guys can go up and sleep together. That's fine.
Okay. So it wasn't last night. It was the night before. Stefan slept in bedroom number 4 and you slept downstairs.
Yes.
In the master. Okay. What time did you wake up?
I'm going to say around 8 o'clock in the morning. Stefan came into the room and was trying to put the leash on the dog. Somewhere between, he came into the room somewhere between 8 and 8:15. He came in to put the leash on the dog, and I got up to try to help him because my dog is kind of a nervous dog and I didn't want him to pee on the bed. So we wrangled him, put him on his leash, and he said, go back to sleep. And I said, okay. So I laid back and went back to sleep.
Okay.
I heard people in the kitchen. I'm not sure exactly who was in the kitchen. As far as I know, I came downstairs to get ready in her. So she's kind of got a bedroom in the living room. If you go into the apartment, you'll see there's like one of those fake walls, separating half the bedroom. She's got like a desk with a bedroom and a TV and a dresser. But she'll hang out there during the day, but she never sleeps there. She always sleeps with me, and then the rare occasion upstairs. But most of the time it's with me.
Okay. Did you see her on Monday morning?
Visually see her? No.
Did you hear her?
I heard many people in the kitchen. I'm not sure if it was my roommate or her specifically.
Okay, so Jen, one of these points is lying. I will post it at some point. I'll try and put a file up of different documents that are important. But in the document of Jen filling out the police report, she claims she physically saw Maddie that morning before school on February 26th. I saw her, which was how she, quote, knew that Maddie was wearing black shorts, white Crocs, and her green hoodie. Now she's saying that she thought she heard Maddie because she heard several people, but she never physically saw. Well, that's weird, because the only thing that she remembered was also that he was trying to get the dog and to let her go back to sleep. I don't know what many people she's talking about, because Angelica doesn't get up until a little bit later, because she didn't get home from work until close to midnight. So she was still in bed. At 7:30, Natalie was leaving. Actually, I think she was leaving a little earlier than that, because she had to get her son to his grandparents' house so they could take him to school, because she had a meeting that morning. So she had to leave earlier than normal. I know that they say he has autism, so I'm going to assume or presume that he goes to a different school than Maddie, and that's why they don't go to school together. He may be in a special school. He may be going to a different school in another county or school district, I should say. I don't know. It doesn't sound like they go to the same school, though. So she was taking her son to his grandparents so they could take him to school, and she had a meeting. So I don't know what time Jen is claiming that she heard people in the kitchen, because unless she was up at 7:30, which it doesn't sound like, or 7 something, she would not have heard Natalie and her son. And again, Angelica wasn't awake. So the only person other than that she would have heard would have been Maddie and Stefan. So I'm going to put out there that Jen didn't hear anything at all. Maybe she was somewhat conscious when he came in and got the dog, but I don't think Jen heard any commotion in the kitchen. I don't think any of that was true. If she did, it wasn't multiple people. She heard Stefan and she was awake. And if she was awake, well, that has a whole lot of different questions. Her reasoning for Stefan being there was saying that she needed his help or something I think she talks about that more later. Because again, he wasn't even living there. He was living at his parents. Supposedly his dad had a job opportunity for him that, surprise, surprise, fell through. So he hadn't even been there. She did get a new job, but she was correlating her days that she had to work. If she couldn't take Maddie to school, Maddie was staying the night at her grandparents' house, and her grandmother was taking her to school before going into the office. So I'm not quite sure what the real reason is that Stefan was needed, because he really wasn't. He wasn't needed at all. They had it all worked out. Her grandmother took her to school if her mom had to work. She says she had a blood draw appointment at like 10:30, 10:25, 10:30. Maddie didn't even start school until 9:20. So I'm not sure why she still couldn't take her to school and make it to her appointment, because she would have had more than an hour to do so. And why would Maddie be up shortly after 7 if she didn't have to go to school for another 2 hours and everything was already ready from the night before? Like, something just isn't jiving well in her story.
Okay, is your roommate a male or a female?
Female.
Okay.
They're both females.
When was the last time you physically saw?
Wednesday, 11 o'clock. I'm sorry. Sunday, 11 o'clock.
Sunday when you sent her to bed?
To bed. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then when you woke up, you said you woke up briefly because Stefan went in there. Did you go back to sleep?
Yes.
What time did you get up?
Let me see if I actually have my alarm set. No, I don't have the specific day on there. Let me check something real quick. I'm pretty sure I woke up around 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I left at 9:30.
I had an appointment.
I had a doctor's appointment at like 10:15. But they took a while. And then by the time they did my blood work and whatever, I think I got home somewhere between 11 and 11:15.
Okay. When you got back, was Stefan here?
I'm pretty sure he was, yeah.
What was he doing?
Just sitting in my room. At my computer desk on his phone.
Okay. What did you guys do?
We chatted for a little bit. I asked him
what had happened, because he had called me earlier at 10. Let me see. Pretty sure he called me around 10:18.
What did he call you for?
To let me know, that they didn't go to McDonald's as planned. He had asked her multiple times if she wanted to stop at McDonald's, because that was the plan the night before, that they were going to wake up early. He was going to take her to McDonald's, do like a special McDonald's breakfast, and then drop her off at school early, because she wanted to get there a little early. But on his way to school, she was very sleepy and wanted to sleep in the car. And she said she did not want to do McDonald's. She just wanted to be dropped off.
Okay.
So that story kind of feels like a lie, as if she's coming out with a lie on, you know, the fly. A lie on the fly. Because, we're going to get up early. So, okay, her appointment was at 10:15, not 10:30. But if she was already home shortly after 11, it wasn't a doctor's appointment. It was a blood draw. And I know that they can give you appointment times for blood draws, but usually it's you go in, you get your blood work done, and you get out. It's not like a doctor's appointment to where if you're, 5-10 minutes late, that could make them later with the next people. I know that they have a really tight, they try to keep really tight scheduling so that people aren't waiting forever for their appointment to start because somebody came in late. It's not usually the same for blood work. So I again think it's odd that she couldn't have just taken Maddie to school. Her whole reasoning for the super special McDonald's breakfast, I mean, maybe I'm bougie and privileged, but I've never thought of going to McDonald's as something that's crazy super special breakfast. I mean, what do? You go through the drive-thru and you get, a McGriddle and a hash brown, It's just, she just sounds like making a huge deal out of it, but she was just super sleepy. It just sounds like she's making things up. But I'm trying to be fair to Jen, so we're going to continue on.
Also to let me know that he left his phone at home, because I had called him multiple times and he hadn't picked up. He had left his phone at home by accident. He had went to the vape shop, but they didn't open on time, so he waited.
Sorry, I'm pausing again. So all these people in Jen's life are so forgetful. Maddie forgot her phone at school, which I don't know. It sounds like she was the typical teenager. I mean, I'm this way too. Where their phone, they're always on it. It's almost like an additional limb. And it's for her to forget her phone at home doesn't really make sense, because if they left early for school and she didn't have to be to school until 9:20, then she could have said, "Hey, Stefan, I forgot my phone at home. Can we go back and get it?" They had plenty of time. According to their timeline, they would have had plenty of time for her to go back. It's not like they were rushing that morning because everybody slept in and she had to get to school or she was going to be late. She made a point to say they got up really early because she wanted to get there early and hang out with her friends before school, which, isn't that uncommon. I mean, my girls did that too. They wanted to hang out with their friends and kind of get prepared for school, mentally prepared before their date actually started. So that's not crazy, but her also forgetting her phone and then her saying Stefan forgot his phone. He actually forgot, quote, air quotes, he forgot his phone twice that day, coincidentally. So he forgets his phone in the morning, she says, allegedly, and then in the afternoon he forgot it at home as well. You know what phones do all the time? They're constantly tracking our location. They can tell us where we've been all day long. They can tell us how many steps we've taken. They can tell us our heart rate. depending on what kind of phone you have and what setup you have, and if you have an Apple Watch or any kind of watch that connects to your phone to track these things too, you can be located. It can be shown where you've been. And if you can't easily access it, law enforcement definitely can. So you know who leaves their phones at home like that? People who are doing something shady. And it's easy to say that Stefan was definitely doing something shady, leaving that phone at home both times. He wasn't taking it with him on purpose, because he wasn't going to leave it up to chance that someone would be able to track him and figure out where he is. I mean, my daughter is on my Find My. If I'm randomly decide to leave the house and I go and I hang out with a friend and we go to the coffee shop, she will message me and be like, "Mother, who said you're allowed to have, a life? What are you doing?" It's all in jest. It's funny. But, people know where I am because it's a safety thing too. Like, if something happens, in this case with Maddie, if she would have had her phone on her, they would have been able to easily find her. But conveniently, her phone was at home, not on her. So, yeah, I don't know, Jen. I feel like the people in your life are either super forgetful or there's some shady shit going on.
He had waited for quite a while in front of the vape shop. They didn't open, so he left and came back and we hung out a little bit. And then I think he left again to the vape shop to go buy what he needed.
Okay.
Do you want the name of the vape shop?
Yes. If you have it at the top of your mind, I'm sure we're going to talk again soon, and we'll have more.
No, I'm just saying because that might be helpful if you want to see like surveillance or anything.
I don't understand that either. If you want to do surveillance or anything, why would you want them to do surveillance near the vape shop, Jen? He would have dropped her off to school by then. There would be no reason to do surveillance. The only reason to do surveillance is because you know that she's not going to be with him. So it gives an alibi. Hey, what's this channel called? Crime, Lies, and Alibis? The alibi was that he went to the vape shop and they weren't open yet. Which, what a crummy business that is. This is the hours that we're open, but we're just going to randomly open late. And we're going to conveniently open late the day that, your non-boyfriend needs an alibi. Sure.
Okay, so at some point I understand he gets like a flat tire and he's not able to go with you to pick school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you get to the school, how do you realize that she wasn't there?
So I I usually leave around 2:30 to pick her up. She gets out of school at 4. So I wait it takes me about 20-25 minutes to get to the school, and then I wait about an hour for her to get out.
Jen's one of those parents that drive me nuts. I don't understand it. Hey, my child doesn't get out until 4, but I'm going to be there an hour and a half early so that I can be first in line. I don't know what it is with the first in line. Oh, I want to be first in line to pick up my kid from school. I don't understand. So there are parents who don't seem to go home, I guess, or if they do, it's not for long. Do we know why this is a thing? And I swear every school has those parents. One year, my dad he had some stuff he had to do, and he was just going to pick the girls up from school. So, he could just pick them up from school. Why not? So he gets there a little earlier, and he pulled into a parking spot, not in what would have been the line, because he was there early. And why? And much to his surprise, there was already like 6 cars there. They had already lined up to get their kids. And he calls me, and I can't, what he said isn't suitable for public, it's inappropriate because there was several swear words in there. But he was trying to figure out why there were so many people already there to pick their kids up from school. And he's like, I recognize that, I'm kind of guilty because I'm here early too, but there's a reason for me to be here early. Would they all have the same reason? It just seems ludicrous. So I don't know if Jen's one of those parents who just has to be first in line, but if that's the case, then the rest of what she says doesn't make sense.
I waited the whole time, and then when the bell rang and then it was time for her to come out, she wasn't one of the first kids like she normally is. And I realized I was holding up the line because everyone behind me had children, and they needed to get out because I was the first in line. So after about, I'm going to say, I think it was like 4:10, she didn't come out and I was holding up the line, so I drove away. I said, maybe I forgot to tell her that I was picking her up that day, because I don't know if she knew that I wasn't working that day. But I had assumed that she thought, she knew that I was going to go get her. So because she never came out, I left and I went. She works less than, I'm going to say it's like a 3-minute drive from the school. It's very close. She works in the Hunters Creek Villages area. I drove that way, and I drove along the path that she would walk, and I didn't see her. And then office, I asked, hey, has she gotten here yet? They said no. And I said, okay, let me wait a little bit. And I parked back again on Hunters Park Lane, I think.
So I'm going to get out 2 thoughts right now so that I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, and we can continue with what she's saying. Jen does 2 things right now, or coming up, that irks me. Decides to call her mother for some reason, which feels like stalling. She's trying to think of what to say. She's running out of what to say. And so she calls her mom as kind of a diversion tactic. And then she says something. It's funny because Strategic Eye has said it. And then I think maybe Detective Kevin, someone else says it too. But people who say, oh, I took my meds, I'm so sleepy, is an excuse for why they aren't able to come up with the next chain of the scenario of what occurred. And usually it's because their brain is trying to think of a lie on the spot. And trying to think of a lie on the spot is hard. It's harder than being honest, because when you're retelling something and you're saying, okay, well, this morning I got up, I went to the bathroom, I got a cup of water, I took the dogs outside. When you can do that, and then sometimes you can even do it in reverse. I took the dogs outside, I got some water, I went to the bathroom, I got up. Those are things that they're natural chains. So it's easy to kind of recall, well, I did this or we did this. But when you're trying to think of a lie, and you're trying to think of a lie that makes sense, there's a pause, and then there's a diversion. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really tired, I took my meds. Well, that's weird, because you've already been talking to her for close to 30 minutes. Maybe not. But you've already been, well, at least from when she pulled you to the side and they had been inside the house while you were sitting in the car with Stefan. So did you take your meds out in the car? That seems weird. Like, if she takes her meds, she's good for half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and she's going to be out like a light. So I don't really believe her that she took her nighttime meds, and that's why she's having a hard time recalling. There was another thing that the other thing that I was going to point out that was annoying with her whole, well, I was at school early, and I waited till about 4:10, and then when she didn't come out, I was holding up the line, so she left. Jen, if you're holding up the line, what kind of setup do they have if no one can get out, if the first person in the line can't leave? Some children are slower getting in the vehicle than others. If a person has 3 kids versus 1, if they have younger kids that, need help buckling in or whatever. So I just think that's really poor planning if nobody can get past her because she's first in line. But also, go put your car in a parking spot, go in the school, see if she's inside. She could have had to speak with a teacher. She could have had an issue that day and needed to talk to someone in the office. Maybe there was a reason she didn't come out when you expected her to come out. But the best time to go to the end of the school is right after school's letting out, because everybody's still there. the longer you wait, the less you run into, or the more you run into the risk of everybody going home. At that point, the school is teeming with adults. You have teachers, you have after school program people if there's anything going on that day. You have office personnel. All kinds of people, all kinds of adults are walking around the school, and a lot of the kids are still there unless, you got busers, I'm sure. I'm not quite sure about Florida. I'm not from Florida. I know they have school buses, but I'm not sure about when they let them go versus walkers. In our school district, the walkers go first and then the bus kids go. But regardless, there would have been all kinds of people in the school versus what does she do? She leaves. She leaves and she goes and she drives along seeing if maybe she can see Maddie walking. And then when she doesn't see Maddie walking, which, by the way, her school is Hunter Creek Elementary or middle school. So she goes to Hunter Creek School and her mother works at Hunter's Creek. So that means it's the same general area. If it takes 3 minutes to drive from the school to where her mother works, there's no way she wouldn't have seen Maddie walking. And if Maddie would have gotten there, she would have already been to the office if she waited the truly 10 minutes. So her story, and the reason I'm going off on this tangent, is the story doesn't make sense other than she knew that she wasn't in school. And that's why she left. She knew she wasn't in school, but she needed that proof that she was sitting there waiting that whole time for Maddie to never come out. It just doesn't make sense.
And I waited along that lane to see if I would see her walking. And I didn't see her walking. And it was about 4:30, 4:35. At this point, she should have. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the office. And then I was like, is she here yet? No, she hasn't gotten here. And I said, okay, hold on. Let me see. I called her best friend. And I was like, hey, are you... I don't know if I told her I was picking her up from school today or to walk to the office, but I don't see her anywhere. And she goes, no, she never came to school today. She didn't come to first or second period. And I said, what do you mean? We dropped her off close to school. She should have walked to school. She goes, no, she never made it to any of her periods. And I said, can you please check with your other friends in your other classes to see if she ever made it? She got back to me and said no. At this point, I started to panic because I realized something was wrong. I emailed one of her teachers, a few of her teachers actually, and one of them responded to me. He said she didn't make it to his period at all, and he checked all her other classes, and she didn't make it to school at all.
You checked all of her other classes the same way Jen could have, through the app. How did the teacher figure out that she wasn't in any of her classes? He looked at the app. The same exact thing Jen could have done. I know that because my kids have them. So again, this is the person who's calling and laying little alibis. Oh, well, I talked to the teacher. She knew Maddie wasn't in school that day. I'm convinced of it. Now, I'm not saying that Jen murdered her daughter. I don't know. I wasn't there. I do think that she knew something was up. I do think that she knew Maddie wasn't in school. Again, these are just my opinions. You can draw your own conclusion from them. But it isn't making sense to why she would have done things the way that she did. I started to panic, really, because you don't sound like you have had any sense of urgency in you this whole time. But sure.
That's when I knew something was truly wrong. And I'm before that email or after that email. But I started panicking and freaking out because she should have been to school. She should have made it.
And then I understand she forgot her phone, right?
Yeah.
Is it common for her to not have her phone?
Yes. She's got ADHD. She's super forgetful. She doesn't even... She never realizes that she's in the shower for a whole hour. She loses track of time. She's very...
And then you guys went looking for her, right?
Yes.
Where did you look? Like, did you drive somewhere? Did you walk? Like, where did you go look for her?
Okay. So, after her best friend called me, actually, or I talked to her best friend on the phone, I went back to the school to see, let me check her official attendance. Let me see what's going on. They were already closed. Nobody was at the school. So I searched by backtracking into the school and then coming back out and seeing that there were no kids at the school at all. So then I drove office. Everything was driving, and then I think that response from her teacher at that point. But
did you come back to the apartment at any point yesterday once you realized she was missing?
Stefan was at home waiting for us to get back. And then when I told him something was wrong, she never made it to school, he completely hauled it back to me. And then we all stood there waiting for the cops to show up, and they didn't show up till like 7:30. It took them a while to respond. I think they were looking for other missing kids around the area too. But yeah, no, we did not come back home until we were done with the police. We were done with everything. There was nothing else for us to do except come back
Where
home.
was her phone when all of this was happening?
With me.
How did you get the phone if you never came back here?
I took it with me to go pick her up from school. I was going to give it to her when she got in the car and be like, listen, you forgot your phone again, and let her play on it. I'll do that sometimes when she forgets it. I bring the phone with me and I just give it to her afterwards. But I had brought it with me to go pick her up from school.
Okay. And you mom works where?
I won't get you the address exactly.
Yeah. And then, did you at any point check her phone out while you had it?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Actually, I started looking, but I could not concentrate on reading anything. I was too panicked and too worried. I handed the phone to my sister. She's the one, and my niece. They both started going through her texts. I saw her texts. Nothing seemed weird. No weird random people. Everyone is someone I was familiar with or had heard about. They checked her Roblox. They checked her Discord. I checked her Discord as well. There was nothing weird. One of the police officers taught me to look at deleted text messages. We looked at those as well. They were random text messages deleted. They weren't anything.
Do you remember where you were when you were looking at her phone?
Yes.
Which is where?
Let me see. Is it okay if I call her?
Yes.
I'll get the exact address.
And then while she answers, were you guys, when you guys were looking for her, did you guys keep looking for her in the Hunters Creek area or somewhere else?
Hunters Creek area.
Okay. Did you guys come back here at any point?
No.
What time did you guys come back home?
Hold on a second.
She doesn't have a good answer. See? Hold on a second. Because she's trying to call her mother that isn't answering. Which, calling your mother is just not the thing that you needed to do at the moment. You couldn't, like, she's talking about everybody else being forgetful. You can't Google. I mean, come on. I don't think I need to say it, but it's 2025. Everything, for the most part, can be found via Google. She didn't need to call her mother for the address. She could have just looked it up by the name of the company and found it easily. Instead, she's stalling because she, is trying to think of things to say, and I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating because, again, I'm trying really hard to not villainize this woman, but her choices and like not knowing, like, how do you not have an answer with about what time we came home after searching for her? Because later it comes out that, oh, well, what happened? Well, Stefan kind of continued to look for her, and I went home, I ate dinner, I took my meds, and I went to bed. I'm sorry, what? You came home, you reported your daughter missing, you came home, you ate dinner, You took your meds and you went to bed. So you acted just like you would any other day? Alright. Okay.
What time did we come back? What time did we come back? That was a very good question. I was gonna say it was like somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock p.m.
Did you guys go back out after that?
Stefan went back out.
And this was last night, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where was after this?
With me.
Okay. Did you leave the house at any point with her phone after this?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Hold on. No, I think it's been home all day today, too.
It's been home all day today?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
What time did the police take her phone?
Oh, just kidding. Yeah, they took it. I don't have it anymore. What time did he take the phone? I've made so many phone calls today and seen so many people today that I
was it
don't
light
know.
out or dark out?
It was light out.
It was still
Detective
light.
Hunt still yeah, it was during the daytime.
And then but other than that, her phone was here all day.
In the morning, yes.
Did you guys take the phone anywhere other than when Detective Hunt took the phone?
I think it's been home all day. I don't think I left the house with it.
Okay. Did Stefan have access to the phone?
I'm sorry, I took my medicine, so I feel a little spacey.
Hey, look, there's the.
I think I've had it with me. I think it's been with me.
I took my medicine. I'm a little
Did you go through her
spacey.
phone today?
Yes.
Okay. Where was that at?
Here.
And what were you looking for at that time?
To see if there was anything else. What we couldn't access on Monday night was Roblox. So my niece came over and logged into her Roblox and checked out messages. But then they were also, my sister was also looking for her phone to see if there was anything.
Here at the house?
Yes.
And that was today?
Yes.
Okay, do you guys have her account information as far as like her iCloud and all that stuff? Or is it just on her phone?
I've had a hard time logging into it before when I was trying to get her a new phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if I can log in to her iCloud. I think it's all on her phone.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because so like they took the phone and they downloaded it, right? They can see like if somebody tries to access her accounts and stuff like that. So if you guys do have access to anything,
yeah,
if you guys can refrain from like logging back in.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So it doesn't look like she if she tries to like access her accounts from like somewhere else, that way we can track that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So they're asking if you can, just try not logging into any more of her accounts so that when he's going through the phone, it doesn't look like she's trying to log on from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else that they wanted us to clarify?
Did you find the address to your...
Sorry, let me call her again.
Or what's the name of it?
Oh, if I could remember her business name, I don't know.
What kind of business is it?
It's an insurance business. I think Advanced Insurance something group.
And then I know that you've been with us for the most part of the day, right?
Yes.
We have, I want to say maybe like 40 people out here, okay? Between us and Kissimmee. And we're all, going to be working basically overnight and throughout the day tomorrow until we, okay? tonight, what we're gonna do is, I know we already secured your house, right? We asked everybody to leave. So another thing that I'm gonna ask is if you guys can find somewhere else to stay for the night, because we're gonna have Kissimmee out here at your apartment for the rest of the night, because the people that come and like take pictures and all that other stuff are not gonna respond until the morning. Okay, so nobody can go into the house for the rest of the night until the house gets, you know, we need to take pictures and do other stuff with the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
And unfortunately, because you guys have such a big apartment, it's not something that only one person does. Like, we don't do that, right? We have our forensics unit come out. And it's not something that one person can do by herself. So she has to wait until people come in, because there's like, they're on call after midnight, right? So she has to wait for the other people to come in the morning, and then they're all going to come in as a unit and try to get it done as quick as possible.
Okay. I need to go back into the house.
Mm-hmm.
I have medication that I have to take in order to be like normal. Is there a possibility that I can go back in there and get my meds?
Yes.
You mean the meds that you claim you just took? Nah. I mean, I'm gonna go there. I just took my meds. I'm sorry, I'm really spacey, but you need to go in and get your meds. Weird. Also, she said that they've been with them for the most part all day. You know what? I'm not gonna get into that yet. That'll come later.
Give me a few minutes, and then we'll try to figure out how we can get your medication. Okay, but that's something that we can definitely get. Okay. Does it make sense what I'm telling you?
Yes. I just don't know what we're gonna do about finding a place to go, but okay.
And then, because last in Stefan's car, we're also gonna tow his car.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about anything that I'm telling you? Okay, so from now on, it'll probably be me getting in touch with you, okay? Not Detective Hunt. Okay?
Okay.
Do you understand everything that we discussed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I get your direct number?
Yes.
The job address, if I remember it correctly, is 13550 Village Park Lane, Suite 125.
Okay.
In in Orlando, Florida.
That's in Hunters Creek. Hunters Creek, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Village Park Drive, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And 13550.
Yes.
Is that like an apartment complex?
It's a business building? I don't know. It's a building with a lot of business and offices inside.
And when did you say you were there?
I got there around 4. Well, see, I left and came back. So 4:45. I got there, and I think I stayed until they had left.
Were you there today?
No.
Is there one would be anywhere near that area today?
No, I don't think so. It's been with me. Oh, Detective Hunt went back to that office. I'm so sorry, and he had her phone.
Okay, he had her phone at that time.
Yeah.
Why did he go back to that office?
Because my uncle had walked the path along the trail, and he had found a wallet with not an ID, but like credit cards and something that had somebody's state on it. So he went to pick it up to see if it was of any interest.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my business card. I'm still here for a little bit longer. I'm going to talk to Stefan one more time. There was like a few things that we needed to clarify with him. And then, we're going to, like, me physically, after I get done talking to Stefan, I'm going to try to go get rest, right? Because we're going to continue to do all this.
Yeah.
There's other detectives that are coming from my unit, okay? So, like, there's always going to be somebody here.
Okay.
So just because I physically am not here, don't think that we're not physically working on this. We have a lot of people in our unit, right? So we're taking, like, shifts. And then the people we have violent crimes out here as well. And they're here till 4 in the morning. So I don't want you to think that, like, just because I'm leaving, that we're not still actively working on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, they are here till 4 in the morning. And then the day shift people that also work violent crimes come in around that same time. So they're going to take over. So, like, we have, like, people working till a certain time and then other people coming and taking over, okay? So, like I said, just because I physically am not here doesn't mean that we're not still working on something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I don't remember if Detective Tagler asked, but yesterday when you guys were out looking, do you remember what time you were out looking till?
So yesterday, I stayed in the office. My family went out searching.
Which office?
1355, yeah.
You stayed until what time?
I'm gonna say somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock. I left and then I came home.
You came straight here?
Yeah.
And then who was out? Your family was out looking?
Yeah, but I think they all stopped actually, I'm not sure. One of my uncles might have kept searching along the trail, but I'm not sure until what time he was out. My dad as well.
What about Stefan?
Stefan went out sometime in the middle of the night and went searching, cruising around to see if he could figure out where she might be.
What car was he driving?
My car.
Was anybody driving Stefan's car?
No, just Stefan.
And what time was he out?
I have no idea. I fell asleep. But I know he drove my car because when I got into it, I said, "Oh, the seat's adjusted. Did you drive my car?" He goes, "Yeah, remember I said I was going to take a drive tonight to go search for her because he does have, like, insomnia. He can't sleep at night sometimes, and especially, like, that's what's going on right now. But I'm not sure what time he may have come in or out. But if you guys look at my gate clicker, you need that to come in the front gate. You can see what times he may have come in and out.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else for you. We're gonna clear some things with Stefan, and then I will let you know before I head out.
Okay.
Okay? Do you promise that everything you said today is true?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Ending the recording at 009.
All right. Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, 11:16 hours for OCSO case 24-011313. Can you state your full name?
Jennifer Soto.
All right, Jennifer. So I'm here to talk to you today. We're going to talk about, and you're familiar with kind of why we're talking right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me when is the last time you were with someone?
Saw her, I'm going to say Sunday night.
Okay.
I heard her Monday getting ready for school.
So you last saw her Sunday night about what time?
I would say 11 p.m. before she went to bed.
And you were here at home?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And where did she go to bed? Was she in her room, your room, or something else?
She actually slept upstairs with we have a guest bedroom. We were all going to sleep together in the same bed, but I needed some good sleep. And
she says she needed some good sleep a lot of times, and every time she says it, it makes me grumpy. So I needed some good sleep as opposed to bad sleep. I mean, I know there's bad sleep, but I needed some good sleep. So I sent them up to the guest bedroom upstairs. It wasn't really a guest bedroom. How do you have a guest bedroom when your child doesn't have a bedroom? Can we talk about that for a second? My kid doesn't have her own bedroom. She has a partitioned area off in the bed, in the kitchen, jeez, in the living room. But we have a guest room. That sounds so stupid. You sound stupid, Jen. If you ever hear this, you sound dumb. I'm sure I sound dumb too. But, like, you sound dumb. We have it. They were sleeping upstairs in the guest room. Maddie had a bed of her own, but I sent her upstairs to sleep with my non-boyfriend. Oh my God, this woman.
I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs?
Wait, there's an inconsistency. I've listened to this stuff over and over again. And every time I hear it, I pick up something new that I missed before. That's weird. I'm going to go back a second.
(2024) 11:16 hours for OCSO case 24-011-313. Can you state your full name?
Jennifer Soto.
All right, Jennifer. So I'm here to talk to you today. We're going to talk about, and you're familiar with kind of why we're talking right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me when is the last time you were with someone?
Saw her, I'm going to say Sunday night.
Okay.
I heard her Monday getting ready for school.
So you last saw her Sunday night about what time?
I would say 11 p.m. before she went to bed.
And you were here at home?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And where did she go to bed? Was she in her room, your room, or something else?
She actually slept upstairs with... we have a guest bedroom. We were all going to sleep together in the same bed, but
the chuckle.
I needed some good sleep.
She chuckled.
And I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep, so I asked.
She just said, I just got a new job. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. That is not what she had said before or later. She claimed that on Saturday she didn't take a certain medication, so she was feeling weird because she forgot to take her medication. Now, someone who is very dependent on these meds, so dependent that her daughter goes missing, and instead of searching for her daughter, she goes home, she has dinner, she takes her meds, and she goes to bed. Like, this is her routine, and she's not breaking her routine for literally anything. Literally nothing. My daughter's missing. I'm gonna go home, eat some dinner, take my meds, and go to sleep. Literally nothing changed her pattern. So how would she accidentally, on Saturday night, randomly, just forget to take an important med? But now she's saying, I haven't been well rested because I got a new job. Okay.
Hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs? I knew he was going to get her ready and...
Sorry. Okay, so, you needed some good sleep. So, was it about 11 o'clock?
Yeah. I sent them upstairs, and I went to bed.
Okay. And that was about 11?
Yeah.
And do you guys normally all sleep together? Because I know you said that she sleeps in your room with you typically, right?
She sleeps with me typically. Typically when he comes into town, because he lives with his parents in Northport, Florida. Mm-hmm. When he comes to town, he'll sleep in the guest bedroom.
Okay. And Stefan is the one you're referring to, right?
Yeah, Stefan Stearns.
Stefan. How often does he stay here?
Oh. He moved away back in December, so I'm going to say he's visited at least 2 to 3 times since then.
Okay. Why did he move away?
He was offered a better, well, his dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Oh.
So now we're trying to get him back here.
And he just visits?
Yeah.
When he visits, does he stay for like hours, days, weeks?
I would say days. This time we had planned on him staying a whole week because I was going through training at work. So I wanted him to be here to help me with the dog, help me with the training.
Okay, so this time he was planning
to help me with the dog and help me with the training. What? First of all, she had already been in training. She had been in training the whole, at least, week before, because Maddie had been staying with her grandma. So why would Stefan be needed to help with the dog? Really? You need help with the dog. That's why you call your ex-boyfriend back to stay in the guest bedroom, because he's your ex-boyfriend. You're not together anymore. He moved out in December. It's now end of February. He came back for a couple of days here and there to sleep in the guest bedroom, again, because you're not together. And you needed his help because you had training and the dog? Alright.
Stay for a week. How long has he been here? Or when did he arrive, rather, this time?
I can't remember if he arrived Saturday or Sunday morning.
Okay, that's fine. Sometime this weekend?
Yeah.
So that was last night around 11. And so about what time did you hear her on Monday morning?
I heard everyone getting ready around, I'm going to say 7:30, 8 o'clock.
And was it just Steph? Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro, who's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosero.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
No, I just heard, if anything, Stefan came and woke me up accidentally because he was trying to let the dog out. And the dog gets really nervous sometimes. So I was trying to help him with that, get him on his leash. But he got him situated and took him for a walk.
Okay. Did you hear around 7 or 8?
I heard noises in the kitchen, but I'm not sure,
Not sure who it was exactly.
Who it was exactly, yeah.
Gotcha.
It could have been any of the roommates.
But you didn't see her leave Monday morning. Were you still in bed or still in your room?
I was still asleep, yeah.
Gotcha. What time does she normally leave for school?
We usually leave around 8:50 at the latest.
Okay. What time does she have to be to school by?
9:28 is when school starts.
Gotcha. And so I think you had said the previous night, you and Stefan had agreed that he was going to get and take her in the morning? Okay.
And they were going to stop at McDonald's and get breakfast, but she changed her mind last minute and did not want McDonald's.
Okay. When'd you find that out?
When did I find that out? When Stefan called me around 10:18 in the morning, I had stepped out to go get blood work done. And he had just let me know that he just got back home from running a few errands. And that I asked, did you guys ever just stop at McDonald's? And he said no, she changed her mind. He tried convincing her a few times, but she did not want McDonald's anymore.
What time did you leave the house yesterday in the morning? Or what time did you step out, rather?
say around 9:30.
Had Stefan returned at all?
No.
So you were there from, just so I have my times kind of right, so you woke up around 7 or 8. You saw Stefan, because you helped him with the dog, because he was letting the dog out, right?
Yeah.
And then did you go back to sleep, or were you just kind of in the room?
I laid back down and went back to sleep.
Okay. And then, do you remember what time you woke up after that?
I believe I set my alarm for 9 a.m.
Gotcha. So it would have been around 9 a.m. that you woke up. And in that time, you didn't see Stefan return at all? Okay. You left around 9:30, and then Stefan called you around 10 to say he got home?
Yeah.
Cool. Got it. Okay. Did he say anything else aside from she didn't want to go to McDonald's?
About her, no. About his morning, yes. He had tried going to the vape shop when it opened right after he dropped her off from school and waited, but they never opened on time, so he came back, hung out a little bit. He came home around 10 and then went back out eventually to the vape store to go get some vape stuff.
So he left after 10. What time did you get back home for the day?
Let me check something.
Her sighing makes me crazy.
Blood work appointment is at.
Constantly sighing.
More of an accurate time.
Yeah.
Okay, so my appointment was at 10:15 and it took them 45 minutes to see me. So I didn't get home until 11:15, 11:30.
Mm-hmm. And was Stefan back at that point in time?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I can't remember.
And then what did the day look like after that? It's fine.
So I did my blood work, then I came back, and then I just waited. I waited for the rest of the day until 2:30 to leave. I wait in the car line, so I'm first in line to pick her up.
Yeah, that car line can be vicious. So you left approximately 2:30.
Yeah.
And pickups around 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you got there at 4, then what happened?
I waited in the car line for about 10 minutes, and she never came out. So I thought maybe I missed her. I couldn't remember if I told her I was picking her up from school that day or if she had to walk to the office.
Okay.
So I went to the office to see if she made it. She never did. I drove around a little bit.
Okay.
I drove around a little bit, looking for her. I went back to the school. The school was closed at this point. I wanted to speak to somebody at the office to see if anybody could tell me if she had been there. I think at this point I had called, before I went to the school, I actually called her best friend and I said, "Hey, with you, I can't find her. She didn't walk to the office and she wasn't at school when I went to pick her up." She said she never made it. She's it's a first or second period, and I'm like, "What do you mean? I dropped her off, or we dropped her off close to school." And she said she didn't make it to first or second period. I said, "Please check with the rest of your friends." She did. She got back to me, said none of them saw her today. I emailed one of her teachers. Her teacher texted me her attendance for the whole day and told me she wasn't in school at all. That's when I knew something was wrong, and I freaked out.
Okay. Is it typical of to walk to after school?
If I'm working, yes.
And where? I mean, in relation to the school, like, is it a close walk, long walk?
It's a very close walk.
Okay. So typically in the morning, if, or I guess before Stefan moved, did he live with y'all?
Uh-oh. Did something happen? Hello? Something happened? Oh, it's still clicking. So I guess until that video, there it is.
So it's typical of him to be able to get her ready in the mornings and drop her to school. Do you all tend to split that responsibility, or what does that look like?
Typically, I do it.
Okay.
This morning, because of my work schedule, because I've been so exhausted, I asked him to take over and do it, and he said he would.
Okay.
See, there's an inconsistency again, and I don't want to bully Jen. There are tons of people who have all of these really awful things to say about her, and as much as I'm not a fan, I don't really want to do that. But there's an inconsistency again. He doesn't normally take her. I do it. I had to work. He was helping me this week because I had to work. But then she also said that Maddie would walk to her mom's work if she wasn't picking her up. So why wouldn't Maddie know that she was gonna? It just, I don't know. None of it's making any sense. None of it's following. Like, she says one thing and then another, and then she says another thing, and then she says something to kind of throw that first thing that she said off. And he doesn't normally take her. She's going back to, I really needed rest. I was really tired from working, which doesn't make any sense. You're doing training, but I don't know how exhausting it could be. She's not working in a factory or doing a high intense job. It's, she's working with, I believe it was guest relations or something like that, through one of, I think, the Disney subsidiaries. So I don't think it's this high intense job that is, just sapping so much of her energy out of her. I have my own theory on why Stefan was there, on why she called him in the first place, and why she, quote, needed help. And I don't think it had anything to do with her new job.
Has he done it before, though? Like, is he familiar with how to drop her off? And
I'm gonna say he's done it once or twice before. I'm not too sure.
Okay. In the time since he's been back, well, not this time because he's only come back over the weekend, but in the other times, he's done it maybe once or twice.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Is there any reason that he drops her off, or he dropped her off a block away instead of dropping her off to the school?
Because she asked. Because she is embarrassed of his car.
Really? When did she express that?
Multiple times when we've been like, okay, I think Stefan might take you to school or he might pick you up. She goes, can he pick me up far away? Can he leave me here? Like, I don't want to be seen. I'm just like,
I don't believe that at all. And here's why I don't believe. And this is one of those things I can say, this is a lie. He didn't want to pick me up from school, or he didn't want her picking him up, and oh my gosh. He did not want him, she did not, English, brain. She did not want him dropping her off near school. She did not want him picking her up at school because she was embarrassed of his car. Really? Because he didn't have his car. He had his dad's car. And we learned this because of Natalie. Natalie did not recognize the car that Stefan was driving because that's not the car he normally drove. The car that he was driving was his dad's. If Maddie was embarrassed by his car, she wouldn't have been embarrassed by that car because that wasn't a car he normally drove. So again, she's trying to say, oh, well, you know, it's only been once or twice. But then she says, usually when? Well, usually isn't once or twice. In the past, she was embarrassed. In the past, this, or this was why she had expressed it then. She goes back and forth between it never happened or it rarely happened to it sounds like it happened all the time. It can't be both. The two are mutually exclusive. If something rarely happened, it couldn't happen all the time. There could be no typical. If it's a rare occurrence, then you say, she didn't like his car and leave it at that. But typically, no, there is no typical if he hardly ever did it, Jen. The whole time that you'd been together with him since Maddie was 6 years old, there's only 2 times that you can think of that he took Maddie to school and rarely picked her up. That wasn't a thing he normally did. So why are you trying to make it sound like this is something that is a regular occurrence when it wasn't?
What car does he drive? I'm curious.
It's that Buick.
Oh, okay.
But to her, that's an old, empty car.
Fancy taste. I get it. Can you remember anything about Sunday or Saturday or this weekend where she may have said that she was wanting to hang out with friends or something she was wanting to do or anything?
On Sunday, she actually had a party and she had some friends come over. So she hasn't expressed that she wanted. She actually got to spend time with friends and family. She had a great Sunday. She came back with a lot of presents. She was super happy.
Okay. So, no arguments at home recently or anything?
No, nothing like
that. Has she ever, in the totality of, I guess, everything, as long as she's been, ever gone off to spend time by herself or gone to hang out at a park by herself or something to kind of clear her own head?
So there's a lake right behind this building. She'll sometimes sit at the dock or by the lake, but I check on her often.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, if she, I don't know if something at school upset her, something here upset her. Not that it would be anyone's fault, but if there's somewhere that she may go for, like, you know, peace of mind.
Yeah, it would be the lake right behind the house.
Does she do any extracurriculars?
No.
Got it. Now, your roommates, I know you told me their names earlier. Are you okay? Do you have to use the bathroom?
No, I'm just anxious.
Okay.
I've got anxiety. Let me see. Where is... Okay, Angelica, she primarily speaks Spanish, so you probably need a Spanish speaker.
Got it. And then Natalie. Got it. Alright. When's the last time you got in any kind of trouble at home?
I'm gonna say a few weeks ago.
What was that for?
I don't think... if she gets a yelling, or if she gets in trouble for anything, it's for her disorganization and messiness. How she leaves laundry on the floor,
Okay.
her room's a mess, she keeps her space very disorganized. So I kind of get on top of her. Do I remember the actual argument? No. When I went through her text messages back on February 2nd or 3rd, she had expressed to a friend that, you know, I was crazy. I was acting, you know, being nuts.
Almost old stuff to say.
Yeah, apparently I don't remember this in this conversation. I remember saying this once, but not in February. But she had said, you know, if she continues to behave this way or not listen, you know, when she turns 18, I'm not going to want to live with her.
Okay.
Or also I would ship her off to her dad's.
Oh.
But I never...
Where's her dad live?
Houston, Texas.
Okay. Has she ever expressed wanting to go back and live with them?
No.
How often does she see him or talk to him at all?
Talks to him once in a while.
Via phone or probably?
Yeah, via phone, yeah.
Okay.
Text message or Instagram, they'll message each other. But I talked to him last night, and she's like, just so you're aware, she hasn't said anything about making plans to come over here or see me or come visit me, so he doesn't have any information on where she might be.
Okay.
He's actually willing to come over here, too, if we need him to.
Okay. But she's never made any plans, I guess, to go see him.
No.
What's her dad's name? Do you know his phone number?
By the way, this is the really sad part. So it kind of messed with me for like a hot minute because I forgot that February only has 28 days because, you know, it's my first time looking at a calendar. So the sad part is after this phone call or this conversation with the law enforcement guy, I forgot his name already. She just after this reaches out to Maddie's dad, letting her know that he's missing. She's missing. She's been missing for a whole day, actually almost 2 days at this point, and she never bothered to contact Maddie's dad. So after she talks to this officer, she contacts Maddie's dad, who drops everything he's doing and drives from Texas to Florida, and he gets there on the 28th. He leaves the 28th, the morning of. So he leaves the next morning. And by the time he gets there on the 1st, shortly after he gets to Florida, they found her. So that's really nice of Jen, right? Not call him and contact him immediately. To even see if maybe Maddie reached out to him because she was hitchhiking his way or whatever. He didn't even know she was missing.
So I think it's this one.
And he lives in Texas?
In Houston, yeah.
How long has he lived? Or how long?
He's lived, he was in the military way. Either it's Kansas or...
Oh, so he's never had any, like, custody or anything with her?
Nothing.
Okay. And has she ever formed a relationship with him where they bonded and talked or anything that, like, she... I guess I would try to rule out the possibility that she would be trying to go to Texas and see him or meet up with him or...
They're as close as they can be with how limited contact he does have with her. He texts her once in a blue, right? Not as consistent as I would like him to, but
Okay.
I don't think she's making her move to go.
Yeah.
She's left her debit card here. All of her money's here. Her cell phone's here.
Is it typical of her to leave her cell phone? Does she normally have it?
She's got ADHD. She's very forgetful. This happens often.
Oh, so she frequently forgets her things?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is another thing that I got really upset about. I have created an introduction video for Maddie, and I have deleted it, and I've remade it, and I've deleted it. I will do it again someday when I feel confident that I have enough on Maddie to attach to what hopefully will be a string of these videos. But one of the things that really upsets me is when it comes to who Maddie is, Jen gives us literally nothing. Nothing positive. She has time blindness, apparently, because she'll take a shower for an hour, which, I mean, same. Not an hour, because we would totally run out of hot water by then. But, like, I sometimes take long showers because the heat feels good. If I have a headache, especially, hot showers are nice. So for her to be like, oh, she takes, super long showers, well, maybe that's the only peace that she gets since she doesn't have her own bedroom and she sleeps with her mother. Like, so she has all these negative things to say. Oh, she has ADHD and she's super forgetful, blah, 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 blah. Well, she's telling him that she forgot her phone and that she had ADHD and she constantly forgot her phone. But then, according to her friends and other people, Maddie always had her phone. And she was on it quite a bit. And Stefan, always on his phone, always playing games on it, and always on his phone too. So this whole, this excuse, instead of saying, no, she doesn't typically leave it, that's why it was surprising. No, she's going with this story that Maddie leaves her phone just all the time. Just nothing positive. I think I learned that her favorite colors were green and purple. And the only reason I knew that is because that was the colors that everybody wore to her memorial service. Via her friends are the ones who said that. Who knows what, Maddie's favorite movies were, or, what she liked to do other than, they say she liked Roblox and Minecraft, but so do a lot of American kids. That's not really anything that screams this is who Maddie is. I guess she liked to dance. That was one of the things that people talked about. She enjoyed dancing. She was in choir, but we don't really get anything positive from Jen about what encompassed Maddie, what made Maddie who she was as a person. Nothing. Like, thanks, Jen, for giving us literally nothing. But anyway, she has time blindness and ADHD.
As far as her mental diagnosis, she's diagnosed with ADHD. How long has she had ADHD?
Since she was like 5, 6. They also diagnosed her at the same time with autism. So she's had an autism diagnosis for a few years now. I've reassessed her recently. They told me she had some autistic traits, but they weren't sure if she was autistic.
So, I mean, do you ever...
Okay, so I'm going to be that person and say a lot of people have autistic traits. That doesn't mean they have autism. I don't even know if that's the appropriate way to say that, because I know that you have to be very sensitive how you phrase these things, because there's so much stigma attached to autism. And those who have, like a spectrum disorder. So to say that somebody makes a lot of the markers, okay, so they have things in common that are common threads to people who have autism, but that doesn't mean they have autism. And a lot of things that go in line with ADHD could be autistic traits. So she's saying that she had her tested for autism, but it came back that, she probably did not have autism. Well, okay, I'm going to look it up right here on my handy dandy computer next to me. Autism versus ADHD. Hey, look. I just found a really quick autism spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are neurodevelopmental conditions that can share some similar symptoms but have distinct core differences. While both can impact attention and social skills, ASD primarily affects social communication and interaction, along with repetitive behaviors and interests, while ADHD primarily focuses on attention, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Both conditions can occur together, a phenomenon sometimes referred to as AUDHD. So the key difference is ASD is characterized by difficulties with social interaction, nonverbal communications, and understanding social cues, while ADHD individuals typically have reciprocal conversations. Repetitive and restrictive behaviors. ASD often involves repetitive movements, routines, and a strong preference for sameness. ADHD does not typically include these behaviors. While individuals with ADHD struggle with maintaining focus in general, autistic individuals may hyperfocus on specific interests and find it difficult to shift their attention. So for her to say, oh, well, she has ADHD really, really bad, but then, oh, well, maybe it's autism, that's where it feels like an either or. Either she's hyper-focused, and I understand that sometimes people can be hyper-focused on some things while finding a difficult time focusing on other things. That could be true. But it just seems weird how I feel, and again, in my opinion, I am not a person who is qualified to, give any kind of diagnosis or whatever. But I personally feel like Jen was just self-diagnosing and diagnosing her own daughter. She was going to a doctor saying, I think my daughter has this, which sounds very drug-seeking to me. When a person's behaviors can't be controlled and a person feels the need to control the other person's behaviors, they start looking for medication to alter the person in question. So it just feels to me as if she was trying to find things wrong with Maddie to be an excuse and a justification to give her medication. And I wonder how much she has been tested and appropriately diagnosed versus, okay, well, they did test her for autism and she did not meet the criteria. So we can say that according to Jen, not being able to access her medical records because not only HIPAA, but also she's a minor, those make him come out in court. I don't know. That may be part of the redacted material that we'll see later. We might not see it later. But I unfortunately have come across parents. It almost sounds like a Munchausen by proxy sort of situation. But parents who will research things on the internet and come to conclusions that, well, this must be what is wrong with my kid, or this explains why my child does this. And when then they go to their doctor and they say, oh, well, my child is doing this, this, and this. Well, they only know their child is doing those things because they looked it up. And they've convinced themselves that this is what my child does and this is what my child needs. And unfortunately, there are doctors out there who will listen to these parents and will medicate how they see appropriate without doing official diagnostics. I know a woman who took her child to 4 different ENTs. By the time she got the 5th ENT to take out her son's adenoids and tonsils when he was not even 3 years old. He'd only had, since birth, 1, maybe 2 ear infections. But the rest of the time he was fine. He didn't have any of that, but she was convinced that he had hearing problems and he needed them removed. And every ENT she took him to said he was fine until she got the 5th one to agree to take him out. So she unnecessarily had her son have a medical procedure done that wasn't needed. So it happens.
Notice her mental capacity impacting her ability to, I guess, be around other kids or function normally?
would say sometimes, because she acts... I'm not sure. Sometimes she'll make some decisions that I'm just like, where did that come from? Like,
I mean, is that like, would that be a result of a mental disability, or would that be like a result of her being... I mean, does she... I guess, like, basic questions I always kind of ask her. Can she feed herself without assistance? Does she shower and bathe without assistance? I mean, she has a phone, so she can text and talk to people. She has friends at school. Gotcha. And has she ever complained about school?
Not complained exactly. I know it's tough on her. She's given a lot of work. She's always behind on work.
Okay. Got it. And I think the deputies already last night kind of went through her social media a little bit, but if you're okay with it, I'd actually like to take her phone so that I can see if I can get anything else from it.
Okay, this is Detective Hunt, so I still think he's left for this, but now I understand that these were reversed. So she had this conversation with him, and this is when he turned it over to sex crimes. That's okay. Now this makes sense. So it would have been even after she spoke with him and spoke with the next detectives before she even called Maddie's dad. All right, this makes sense. It's slightly out of order, but the same evening. That's why it says February 27th. Maddie's struggling in school. According to teachers and friends, Maddie had been struggling. She was having issues falling asleep in class. She was having issues being focused, getting her work done. And then Stefan moved out. She was doing better. She wasn't falling asleep in class. They didn't know that that was the link. They didn't know that he had moved out. It was just suddenly Maddie was better. She wasn't falling asleep in class. She was getting her schoolwork done. She was getting stuff turned in on time. She was doing homework. There were, she was just more alert. She was participating. She actually went to school. I don't know if it was early one day or stayed later. I'm not quite sure. But she participated in decorating the classroom door. Like, she was doing things. She was enjoying school while he was gone. So what that tells me, knowing what I know, is that she was probably not taking the same type of medication when he was gone versus when he was there. So her saying that Maddie was struggling, she wasn't struggling academically because she wasn't a smart kid. There's no indication anywhere that says that Maddie had any kind of learning disabilities that I've seen thus far. It's just she was tired. And a tired brain isn't going to function as well as a well-rested brain. And when you have a young developing body that you're pumping a bunch of medications into, it will offset that natural balance that the body has to naturally go to sleep. She's on sleeping medications. She takes her nighttime meds. She takes her daytime meds. She's 13 years old. She'd been taking these meds. Well, she said she was diagnosed with ADHD around 5-6 years old. So for 6 years, she's been giving her medication to go to sleep. Maddie, at this point, couldn't go to sleep normally. Like, at a certain point, when you are given high doses of meds to go to sleep, you just keep increasing. And that's why things like melatonin are supposed to be given under a doctor's directives, because you can keep increasing that melatonin because eventually it stops giving you the desired effect that you want, and you just keep giving more and more and more. So, I mean, that's just melatonin. I don't know what kind of other narcotics they were giving Maddie to make her go to bed. But she was tired. And then suddenly, Stefan's not living there anymore, and she's not as tired, and she's doing better in school. She's catching up. She's getting good grades. none of this comes from Jen, though. This is what we learned from teachers and other exterior sources, not her mother. But I guess Jen wouldn't know that, because that would mean she'd have to give an iota of attention to her kid to know that she was doing better in school. But I don't know. It'll be really, really interesting to see if they give the list of medications that they knew was in her system, or they knew was prescribed to her, versus what is found on the toxicology report, if we ever get that information, because I would love to know what was in her system.
You know, typically me being able to go through it and go through text and social media will help me sort of establish a pattern of where people go and whatnot. If that's something you'd let me do.
Sure. Will you take her phone away forever, or just for right now?
Just for as long as I need it to actually go through it. So
okay.
I'll give it back to you as soon as I'm done. As soon as we find her, I'll give it back to her, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, that's just about all the questions I have at the moment.
And wait, I thought she said that they took her phone during the day, not at night. So I'm confused by this timeline, because he's asking if he can take her phone, but it's 11. I don't know what time he said he was talking to her. Unless this was 11 in the afternoon. But I could have sworn he said 11 something p.m. So I'm confused by that timeline. Anyway.
You know her better than I do. I guess my last thing would be like, what do you think based off of everything that we've talked about and everything that you've learned so far? Is anything sticking out to you?
No. Based off of everything, me knowing her and knowing how she is, and how tight-knit we are, like, I don't think she would run away. Mm-hmm. I feel like she was taken, like, on that short walk from where she was dropped off to the school. It was early in the morning. I'm not sure how many cars were around. Mm-hmm. I think she was dropped off somewhere between 8:30 and 8:45 in the morning, which is earlier than we normally take her. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I want to say, I think from what I understood, Orange County got footage of someone by the church in a description of what she was wearing early that morning, mm-hmm. just hanging out in the parking lot, and then she got up and left.
Yeah, so the video, they wrote it here, but there was a video of essentially what looks like her at around 8:45, just about that time, walking into that church parking lot that's right near where she got dropped off by Stefan, and it looks like she sits there for about 15 minutes or so and then walks away. So
I'm wondering if it's typical for her to wait at that parking lot too for my stepdad to pick her up from school, so it's not abnormal for her to hang.
So I think from what has been said, the person he was just talking about wasn't Maddie. It was someone who looked like her. But of course, you know, some of those video cameras are kind of pixelated if they're not a good quality, or I don't know how far away she might have been, the person that they saw on the video. But coincidentally, there happened to be, and it might have even been a girl that Stefan saw. I don't know. Because he was supposedly in that area for, you know, alibi purposes. He happened to see a girl that looked similar to Maddie, but that actually wasn't her. That was someone else that they saw in that video surveillance. So, in case that's confusing.
Out there.
In that parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of any reason why she might have chosen yesterday morning to wait there? I mean, obviously, your stepdad's not picking her up in the morning. But
I wonder if she knew, like, if she had an idea she was super early, so she was just trying to kill time a little bit. But I don't know why she didn't go directly to the school. Like,
yeah.
She should have.
Okay.
I know when Stefan dropped her off, he said that he saw her rummaging through her phone as he drove away, like deeply looking into her, not her phone,
Her
sorry,
backpack.
her backpack.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she was looking for her phone and realized she didn't have it with her at that time.
Got it.
But,
okay. Does she have any kind of boyfriend or significant other at school that she's ever talked about or expressed?
No boyfriend. She did recently tell Stefan that she had a crush on a boy.
Oh, okay. And
we saw messages between them, and nothing seemed weird. But you can look through that as well. His name is...
I assume another middle school boy?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, that is all the questions I have for you right now. I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I'll just get one more quick thing from you. 11:44 hours.
Okay, he says 11:44 hours, so I'm just confused by the backdrop. It wasn't actually nighttime. 11:44 hours would have been that morning. So Jen was correct when she said the officer took her phone in the daytime. So it would have been in the evening when she's talking to the female detective from Sex Crimes. So this would have been a good 12 hours after Jen had this conversation where she mentions them all sleeping together. And I think that's why Sex Crimes was notified. Gee, there's another word. So this is just the unraveling. I've been on here for about 2 hours. I think I'm going to take a break here. And I'm going to stop right at this point and come back in a few for part 2.